Okay, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. So, I will give my very best po to discuss our module 2, which tackles about the measures of disease frequency. Once again, I am Karim Alexei Caleda. Okay, yun po. Now, let's talk about epidemiology. Medyo balik-balikan po natin siya. So, epidemiology, it is the study of disease occurrence and distribution in population. And it relies on understanding the key concepts. Ano po ba itong mga key concepts natin? We have population, health, disease, and measures of disease occurrences. So, apat na po ito, iisa-isahin po natin siya as to the relation of it to the measures of disease frequency. Now, iisa-isahin po natin yung mga objectives po natin. By the end of this module, the learners should be able to first define population and explain how populations are delineated in epidemiology. Second, describe the characteristics of fixed and dynamic populations and provide examples of each. Third, understand the concepts of health and disease as according to the WHO or the World Health Organization. Fourth, explain the importance of accurately defining diseases in epidemiology and recognize factors influencing disease definitions. Fifth, identify and differentiate between ratios, proportions, and rates commonly used in epidemiology. Six, calculate difference occurrence measures such as cumulative incidence and incidence rate and interpret their significance in public health research. Seventh, discuss the uses of prevalence and incidence measures in evaluating disease burden, planning interventions, and informing public health policies. And lastly, apply the knowledge of population dynamics, health, disease, and disease occurrence measures to analyze real-world epidemiological scenarios. Okay, so as I talked about po kanina, iisa-isahin po natin itong mga to. So let's first discuss about population. Now, what is population? Populations are defined based on common characteristics. We have residence, religion, gender, age. Bigyan po natin ng examples. Residence, kung saan ka po nakatira. Religion, if you're Catholic, you're Christian, you're Iglesia ni Cristo. Gender, male po ba? Female? Age, we have teenage, middle age, or older age, and the use of healthcare services or life events. Ito pong healthcare services, explain ko po further mamaya. We have geopolitical entities like countries, states, cities, and neighborhoods, and are commonly ways to define populations. Additionally, we have naturally geographic features like rivers, mountains, and islands that can delineate population boundaries. Dito po sa ating rivers, mountains, and islands, ito po yung mga borderlines na nagpapaseparate per population. Siguro ang pinakagusto ko pang example dito is the Agta community. Naging part po sila ng research ko in my college degree, and talagang separate po sila ng mga bundok-bundok po nila, sobrang layong puntahan. Populations also can be defined in relation to healthcare facilities such as medical offices, clinics, or hospital. The catchment population of a healthcare facility, and this refers to the individual who utilize its services, which can vary based on factors like distance, medical condition, and insurance coverage. Dito po sa ating catchment population, mas bibigyan ko po siya ng emphasis mamaya in correlation to the factors. So ito po siya. We have the factors influencing the catchment population. Now, ano po ba yung simpler definition of catchment population? It is a service population of a medical facility. Ito po yung population kung gaano karami yung nagre-render ng services sa isang population, ay sa isang hospital or isang healthcare service facility. Yan. So catchment populations of healthcare facilities can be influenced by various factors. For example, ito po, may mga binanggit siya dito, but bibigyan ko po kayo ng mas magandang example. kasi this is based on the module, based on books. We have socioeconomic status that also plays a role with public and private hospitals, often serving distinct patient population based on insurance coverage and income levels. Bibigyan ko po kayo ng example dito sa factors affecting. Siguro ang pinakamagandang example is the healthcare services difference between CBMC and St. Paul Hospital. We all know po na CBMC is public while SPH is for the private. And wala na pong sugar coating sa report ko po, but most of the people, since government hospital po ang CBMC, mas marami pong kumukuha ng mga healthcare services nila. Yung mga kumukuha po ng government insurance, like meron po tayong tinatawag na malasakit, ganyan. While for those who are middle to mga matataas po na ng mga sahod or yung mga mayayaman, sabihin na lang po natin, or the wealthy people, kumukuha po sila ng mga healthcare services po nila onto the SPH, sa St. Paul Hospital. Ngayon, bigyan naman po natin ng ibang factors kung bakit some people often choose St. Paul Hospital over CBMC. May mga services din po, aminado po tayo na may mga services din ang SPH na wala po sa CBMC. Though I'm not quite familiar kung ano po yung mga specific services na po yun, but let me give another example po. No, intern pa lang po ako sa Olonga po, and that's James L. Gordon Memorial Hospital. Sa laboratory po namin, since I'm a medical technology intern, hindi po lahat ng mga laboratory services ay nabibigay po ng hospital. Yung hospital po na pinag-internan ko, that's a tertiary government hospital. Like yung mga PSA, yung mga for cancer patients, ang ginagawa po namin doon ay sinisend off yung mga specimens to the other hospitals. So, may mga win-win situations din po yung mga pagkaka-difference ng per hospital or healthcare facility. And the catchment population somehow differs or it depends on the factors that influences them to go there. Kung ano po bang treatment yung kailangan nila, kung they prefer this or that, or they want to get like this type of medication and such po. Now, we have fixed and dynamic populations. We have life events such as medical procedures, childbirth, education milestones, or military service that can define population. Ang difference po natin ng fixed and dynamic population, pag sinabi mo natin fixed population, these are the membership based on permanent event like a historical occurrence. Kapag sinabi po natin siyang dynamic, it is also known as open population, the membership dependent on a changeable condition like residency or occupation. Now, dynamic populations experience turnover as individuals enter and live based on changing circumstances. Dito naman po sa fixed and dynamic population, I can give example po of yung dating incidents, yung pagkalat po ng food and mouth disease caused by Coxsackie A virus. Kapag sinabi mo nating fixed population, paano po natin siya ma-incorporate? Sa food and mouth disease po, ang usually tinatamaan ay the younger people. I mean, yung mga bata po, sila yung talagang natamaan ito. Hindi po gaanong nai-infect yung mga katulad po ng older people. As for the dynamic population, it is a condition based on residency and occupation. Yung mga bata po bang ito ay tinamaan yung mga nakatira sa city or sa mga barrio areas, or sila po ba yung mga nasa school, sila yung palagala papunta ng mga playgrounds, or sila po yung mga nasa bahay. So it depends po, pabago-bago po sila ng mga conditions. Now, subgroup analysis. Populations can further subdivided into smaller groups based on specific characteristics. Subgroup analysis allows for a more detailed understanding of disease patterns and risk factors. Itong subgroup analysis po natin, dito po siya naka-under kay fixed population. So, paano po natin siya i-correlate? More detailed understanding po. Yung sa mga tinamaan ng foot and mouth disease, sila po ba ay usually mga bata? Ay usually mga male? Mga female? Depende po siya sa age group natin. Pwede po bang mga toddlers, mga infants, mga elementary school students or pupils? Ganyan po. Within a population may exhibit different disease prevalence or outcomes. Okay, natapos na po natin yung population. Now let's talk about the health and the disease. Now, what is health? In 1948, according to the World Health Organization or the WHO, provided a comprehensive definition of health. Ang sabi niya po dito, health is a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being and not merely the absence of disease or infirmity. This definition emphasizes that health is more than just the absence of illness. It encompasses physical, mental, and etc. Yun banggit na po natin. More recent perspectives of health, such as those reflected in national plans for improving public health, emphasize the subjective nature of health-related quality of life. Health is seen as a key aspect of quality of life, and it reflects the individual's personal sense of physical and mental well-being and their ability to adapt to environmental factors. So let us take note po kung ano yung sinabi ni WHO since part po siya ng objective natin. It is the state of complete, the physical, the mental, and the social. And hindi po ibig sabihin na kapag wala kang sakit, you are healthy enough. Now, ano naman po yung disease? Disease is often defined as the presence of specific pathological conditions or deviation from normal physiological functioning. Epidemiologists primarily focus on the absence of health or specific diseases, injuries, disabilities, and mortality when measuring disease frequency. So, yung correlation po ng health and the disease, makikita po natin. So, sabi niya, health is not merely about the absence of this disease, and disease is the absence of health. Ganun lang po siya kadaling intindihin. Defining a disease involves a combination of physical examinations, diagnostic tests, evaluation of signs and symptoms, and the criteria we use to define a case of a disease can vary, impacting the accuracy of disease measurement. For example po, if sinabi nating heart attack and we base solely on chest pain, ma-overlook po natin yung mga silent heart attacks that also contribute to the occurrence of heart attack po. And this include individuals with other conditions causing chest pain. So yung pag-define po natin ng case, very important po siya as to what the disease is. Okay, disease definitions can evolve as knowledge about disease improves. The definition of HIV and AIDS has undergone several revisions since its initial recognition in the early 1980s. As the understanding of the disease's etiology, progression, and diagnostic techniques advanced, the case definition expanded to encompass a broader range of clinical conditions and laboratory evidence. Maganda pong example yung binigay or yung nailagay po sa module about HIV and AIDS. Kasi nung estudyante pa lang po ko, pag sinasabi nilang HIV or AIDS, akala ko po parehas lang silang dalawa. But nung tumagal-tagal, napag-aralan po kung ano talagang HIV and AIDS, HIV is about the human immunodeficiency virus infection, and it's an acute occurrence po ng disease. While pag sinabi nating AIDS, mas malala, mas chronic na po siya. Kaya sinabi po siyang acquired immunodeficiency syndrome. So yun po yung pinagkakaiba ng HIV and AIDS. So kapag sinabi po natin, pag ginagamit po natin yung mga terms na yan, minsan na pag i-interchange po natin or kung minsan hindi po natin sila nagagamit na mabuti. So it's better for us to know deeper kung ano po yung talagang ibig sabihin ng sakit. So these changes in disease definitions have significant implications for disease surveillance and epidemiological research. The expansion of case definitions typically leads to an increase in reported cases, while contractions may reduce case numbers. Ito po yung magandang example kanina, yung about dito sa may heart attack. So kapag nagkakaroon po tayo ng expansion ng case dun sa, kunwari, dun po sa may heart attack po natin, mas magandang ma-define po siya ng mas maigi. Nagkakaroon po tayo ng increase in reported cases. Ibig sabihin, nagkakaroon po tayo ng specificity as to the definition or to the factors that influencing the occurrence of the disease. Kapag may nami-miss out po tayo, nagkakaroon ng contractions, nababawasan po yung mga cases natin. Hindi po pala nakikita under the public health na itong tao na to ay under dun sa case na yun. Ganun po. However, the changes in disease definitions must be interpreted in a context of broader public health interventions, such as prevention and treatment programs, which can influence disease incidence rates independently of case definitions alterations. Okay. Nga lang po ako saglit. Okay, now let's talk about the measures of disease occurrence naman. The measuring disease occurrence is a fundamental aspect of epidemiology, enabling the assessment of the burden of diseases within populations. Epidemiologists consider these three key factors when quantifying disease occurrence. The number of cases, ilan po ba? The size of the population, gaano kalawak, gaano kalaki, gaano kaliit, population at risk, and the duration of observation. Gaano po siya katagal. The failure to account for all three components can lead to misleading interpretations of disease frequency. Now, ano po yung disease frequency? Since nabanggit naman po siya kanina, uulitin ko na lang din. It is determined by the number of new cases occurring within a specified population over a defined population. And for accurate comparisons, it is crucial to standardize the data by considering population size and observation time. Now, let's consider a hypothetical scenario comparing breast cancer frequency in two counties. We have A and B. Sa A po, we have 50,000 individuals in one population and 100 new cases over 1 year. Sa B, we have 5,075 new cases over 3 years. Ngayon, paano po natin i-compute yung disease frequency niya? To make it a meaningful comparison, parang sa fraction lang din po yan, we standardize the data. For example, paano po ba yung importance ng standardization? For example, sobrang dami mo pong ika-count na mga counties. Sabi natin A to Z yan. Para hindi po tayo malito, mas magandang, mas maayos yung arrangement po nila. So, we do standardization. And we convert both counties to a population of 100,000 over 1 year period. So, for the county A, we have the frequency, 100 cases. Ito po yun. Divided by 50,000 population times 100,000 in 1 year. And we do the mathematics. Pwede po kayong mag-compute on your own. Kung mentally good po kayo, pwedeng mag-calculator or pwedeng digitally na lang po. So 100 divided by 50,000 times 100,000, we have 200 cases over 100,000 population annually. For B, we have 75 cases over 5,000 population in 3 years. Ngayon po ang sabi niya, pag in-standardize natin, we have 1 year period. So we divide 75 into 3, that's 25 cases, divided by 5,000 times 100,000 annually. And we will get 500 cases divided by 100,000 population in 1 year. Okay, dito po muna tayo. So ano po bang importance ng pagkakaalam natin ng frequency between the A and the B? So we look at these numbers. So mas mataas po yung cases ng County B. Ibig sabihin, County B has much higher frequency of new breast cancer cases compared to County A. This comparison reveals the true burden of breast cancer within each population, highlighting the importance of considering both population size and observation time. Measuring disease occurrence requires careful consideration of multiple factors to accurately assess the impact of diseases on populations. And standardizing the data allows for meaningful comparisons and ensures that conclusions drawn from epidemiological studies are valid and informative. By understanding the principles of disease frequency measurement, epidemiologists can effectively identify health priorities and develop targeted interventions to mitigate disease burden. Next, ano po ba yung mga types of calculations natin? We have ratio, proportions, and rates. Isa-isahin po natin yan. Now, ratio is a comparison of two numbers where the entities represented by the numerator and denominator are not necessarily related. Ratios can express relationships between different groups or quantities. For example, the gender ratio compares the number of males to the number of females in a population. Para madali ko po siyang tinatandaan, siya po yung may is to, 1:1, 2:1, 3:1, yun po ang ratio. And also tandaan po natin na the numerator and the denominator are not necessarily related. Kasi magagamit po natin yan sa mga examples natin. Speaking, we have calculating a ratio, the different categories of same variable. Meron po tayong different variable on the next slides. Between 1971 and 1975, as part of the NAHES, 7,381 persons ages 40 to 77 years were enrolled in a follow-up study. At the time of the enrollment, each study participant was classified as having or not having diabetes. During 1982 to 1984, enrollees were documented either to have died or were still alive. The results are summarized as follows. Check po natin mag-igi itong table natin dahil magagamit po natin siya ng mas matagalan. Of the men enrolled in NAHES follow-up study, ito po, 3,151 were non-diabetic and 189 were diabetic. Now we calculate the ratio of non-diabetic to diabetic men. So dito lang po tayo magpo-focus sa box natin. So we follow po kung ano yung naka-indicate niya na ika-calculate po natin. So the ratio, madaling-madali lang po siya. We have 3,151 divided by 189 times 1, we will get 16.7:1. Okay, how about we calculate the ratio with different categories of different variables? Now we have a city, example A, a city of 4 million persons having or has 500 clinics. Now, we calculate the ratio of clinics per person. Paano po natin siya ginagawa? Sabi po niya, clinics per person. So, we have 500 divided by 4 million times 10 raised to n. Ito po, tanggalin na lang po muna natin yan. We have 0.000125 clinics per person. Ngayon, kung iintindihin po natin at i-interpret po natin, hindi po natin siya masyadong maiintindihan. What do you mean by that? It's 0.00 blah blah per person. So to get more easily understood the result, we set 10 n into 10 raised to 4 or the 10,000. Then the ratio becomes, i-multiply lang po natin siya. So 0.000125 times 10,000, we have 1.25 clinics per 10,000 persons. Now, kung iisipin na naman ulit natin, what do you mean by 1.25? Ano yun? 1/4? Hatiin natin yung isang clinic sa 4? So, you could also divide each value by 1.25 and express this ratio as 1 clinic for every 8,000 persons. So, mas madali po natin siyang maintindihan and mas madali po natin siyang mai-interpret. Now, example B, Delaware's infant mortality rate in 2001 was 10.7 per 1,000 live births. New Hampshire infant mortality rate in 2001 was 3.8 per 1,000 live births. Now, we calculate the ratio of the infant mortality rate in Delaware than that in Hampshire. So, ganun lang po siya kadali. We have 10.7 divided by 3.8 times 1, and that will give us 2.8:1. Ibig sabihin po niyan, Delaware's infant mortality rate was 2.8 times higher or as high as New Hampshire's infant mortality rate in 2001. Okay, tapos na po tayo sa ratio. We go to proportions. A proportion also compares two numbers, but the entities represented by these numbers are related. Kung sabi po natin sa ratio, they are not necessarily related, pero dito po sa proportion, these numbers must be related, with the numerator being a subset of the denominator. Proportions are often expressed in fractions or percentages ranging from 0 to 1 to 0% to 100%. Okay, gagamitin po ulit natin yung table na ginamit natin sa ratio. Example A, we calculate the proportion of men in NAHES follow-up study who were diabetics. And then the numerator, we have this one, the 189, and the denominator. Sabi po niya dito, numerator being a subset of the denominator. Pag sinabi po natin yung subset, it is a part of the whole. So, ang numerator po natin dito, we have the 189. And the denominator, we add lang po itong dalawang factors. 189 plus 3,151, we will get 3,340. So, for the proportion, 189 divided by 3,340 times 100, since kung gusto po natin kunin yung percent niya, so we will get 5.56%. Example B, calculate the proportion of deaths among men. Kung sabi niya po dito, calculate the proportion of men who were diabetics, ibahin po natin ang example B. Sabi niya po, deaths among men. So, for the numerator, we have 100 deaths in diabetic and 811 deaths in non-diabetic. So, a total of 911 po. Notice that the numerator, 911 deaths in men, is a subset of the denominator. So, the denominator, lahat po ng deaths, and that includes the deaths in men, in women, diabetic, or non-diabetic. So, 911 plus 72 deaths in diabetic women, and then 511 deaths in non-diabetic women, we will get 1,494 deaths. So, I guess, alam na po natin. So, for the proportion, we have 911 divided by 1,494 times 100, we will get 60.98%. Ayan. So last, we have the rate. It is a measure of one number divided by another, where time is an integral part of the denominator. The rates are commonly used in epidemiology to quantify the occurrence of diseases over a specific time period. Itong table po natin, makikita po natin siya sa module. And then as for the rate, medyo familiar po siya sa akin dahil na-discuss po siya no CPH namin, pero pandemic po kasing nangyari yun. So we have the mortality rate, ito, crude, case fatality, specific, age specific, maternal, infant, crude birth, and crude fertility rate. Lahat po ng mga may rate. Now, let's talk about the incidence. An incidence is a fundamental concept in epidemiology that measures the occurrence of new cases of a disease within a population over a specified time period. It provides valuable insights into disease dynamics and risk within the community. Understanding the principles of incidence is essential for accurately assessing disease burden, planning interventions, and monitoring public health trends. For key ideas in incidents, we have we have three. We measures the new disease events. Yung mga occurrences po ng mga disease events natin, typically the first instance of the disease within a population. Kapag sinabi po natin candidate population, it is the incidence considering that this candidate population composed of individuals who are really at risk of developing the disease. We have factors na nagdedetermine. This include physiological susceptibility or the absence of immunity. And then the time component, under incidence, this accounts for the specific duration. Gano'ng katagal as the transition of health to disease requires time to manifest and to be observed. Okay, so walang hanggang formula po tayo dito. We have the types of incidence measures. We have cumulative and incidence rate. Kapag sinabi po natin cumulative, it measures the proportion of the candidate population that develops the disease over a specified time period. And incidence rate, it measures the occurrence of new cases of disease per unit of person time observation. So sa CI, saka sa IR po, hindi pala. Sa CI po, we have the number of new cases of disease over the number of candidate population times over specified time. Kapag incidence naman po, we focus on the number of new cases of disease divided by the person time observation in candidate population. Pasensya na po kung medyo may ingay dito sa amin. Natakandagulo po yung mga aso. Next, prevalence. It is a vital epidemiological measure that assesses the frequency of existing disease within a population at a particular point in time or over a defined period. Unlike incidence, which focuses on new cases, prevalence provides insight into a burden disease within a community, including both current and past cases. So, ayan, nabigay na po natin ng incidence and prevalence. Ano pong mas madaling pagkakaiba? Kapag sinabi po natin incidence, it focuses on the occurrence of new cases. Kapag sinabi po natin prevalence, it includes the current and the past cases. So, mas malawak po yung natakal under prevalence. The types of prevalence measures, we have point and period. Point prevalence reflects the proportion of the population that is diseased at a specific moment in time, akin to a snapshot. Kapag sinabi po natin period, it denotes the proportion of the population that is diseased over a specified duration. Kapag PP po, we have the number of existing cases of diseases divided by the number in total population times at a point in time. Parang on the spot, ganun po. Point prevalence. Kapag period prevalence, it denotes it is the number of existing cases of disease divided by the number in total population during a period in time. Kung gaano po kalawak yung period. Kunyari, this year to this year. This month to this month. Ganun po. Now, we talk about the uses of prevalence and incidence. Incidence, it is usually used for disease prevention programs and to study disease causation due to its focus on new cases. Palagi-lagi po siyang binabanggit, new cases, new cases. Incidence measures play a crucial role in epidemiological research by quantifying the transition from health to disease within population and understanding the nuances of CI and IR enables epidemiologists to accurately assess a disease occurrence, identify risk factors, and develop targeted interventions for public health improvement. While prevalence, it is valuable for resource allocation in healthcare, estimating facility needs, and studying chronic conditions while pinpointing disease onset in challenging. It serves as a critical epidemiological metric for understanding the burden of disease within populations. and whether assessing current disease status at a point in time or over a defined period, prevalence complements including in providing a comprehensive picture of disease dynamics and healthcare needs. Okay, so we differentiate incidence versus prevalence through another computation. Yun po. Now, we focus on this pictogram. New cases of illness from October 1, 2004 through September 30, 2005. So, ito mong picture na to, nakuha ko lang din po siya sa module natin. And as for those na naka-encircle, madidiscuss ko po siya mamaya. So we have example A. Calculate the incidence rate from October 1, 2004 to September 30, 2005 using the midpoint population or the population alive on April 1, 2005 as the denominator. Express the rate per 100 population. So we have the incidence rate numerator and the incidence rate denominator. Ang focus lang po natin is October 1 to September 30. So nandito po tayo. The new cases, number of new cases between October 1 and September 30. Napakita na. Ito pong 4. Itong mga naka-red. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Pwede po tayo mag-focus dito sa legend natin. Bakit 4 lang po at hindi 6? The other 6 all had onsets before October 1 and they are not included. Kapag incidence rate denominator naman po, it is the April 1 population. And kung check po natin, hindi nakabilog po itong dalawang naka-block. Ibig sabihin, hindi po sila included. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Yun. So 18 po siya. So numerator, denominator, madali lang. 4 divided by 18 times 100, we have 22 new cases per 100 population. Next example, we calculate the point prevalence on April 1, 2005. Point prevalence is the number of persons ill on the date divided by the population on that day. So, on April 1, dito po, we have 7 persons na may sakit, sabi niya po. So, may sakit ito po. Date on onset of illness, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So, bakit hindi po na-include tong mga to? Dahil meron po ito. Ibig sabihin, namatay po sila dito sa duration na ito. So, we have the point prevalence. We have 7 divided by 18 times 100. We will get 38.89%. Now, example C, calculate the period prevalence. Magkaiba po siya, point and period. From October 1 to September 30, the numerator of period prevalence includes anyone who was ill anytime during the period. Kaya nga po sinabi niyang period. Unlike the point prevalence, specific duration lang po siya. In the figure, the first 10 persons were ill at some time during the period. Ayun, pakita yung sagot. So ito po siya 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then 10 divided by 20. Kung kanina po 18, bakit ngayon 20 na? Sabi niya po kasi it includes anyone. So, lahat na po, pati itong dalawa na-exclude po natin dun sa first example po natin. So, ano lang po siya kadaling intindihin? Ay, hindi. Mahirap po pala siyang intindihin. Kasi kahit ako po nung inaaral ko tong report, nahihirapan po talaga ako dahil weakness ko po ang mathematics. And now, ito na po. Konti na lang. We have the measures of disease frequency in public health. In public health, various measures of disease frequency are employed to understand the prevalence, incidence, and impact of diseases within populations. These measurements provide critical insights into public health trends, inform policy decisions, and guide resource allocation. Ito na po yung mga Rate. Mga rate. Kanina po. So, iisa-isahin po ulit natin yung mga yan. So, first, we have crude mortality rate. It is the number of deaths from all causes per 100,000 population per year. Kapag sinabi po nating crude, yun po yung totality, yung kabuuan. So, madali din pong intindihin tong mga to. Magbibisa lang po tayo sa term na ginamit. So, we have cause-specific mortality rate. Sabi niya, it is the number of deaths from a specific cause per 100,000 population per year. Age-specific, total number of deaths from all causes among individuals in a specific age category per 100,000 population per year in the age category. Fourth, we have years of potential life loss. It is the number of years an individual was expected to live beyond their death. Dito po sa years of potential life loss, medyo na-intriga po ako kung ano siya kasi wala po siyang rate. So sabi niya, it is the number of years na you expect that person to live longer. Kung sakaling hindi man siya magkasakit, hindi po mo siya mamatay, mga ganun. So years of potential life loss. Life birth rate, it is a total of live births per 1,000 population per year. 6, infant mortality rate, the number of deaths of infants less than 1 year of age per 1,000 live births per year. We have birth defect rate, the number of children born with defects per 10,000 births. Birth defect, may Down syndrome po ba yung bata? Abnormal po ba? May Pauls syndrome, G6PD, ganun po. Morbidity rate, number of existing or new cases of a particular disease or condition per 100 population. Attack rate, the number of new cases of disease that develop per the number in a healthy population at least at the time of period. Case fatality rate is the number of deaths per number of cases of disease. And lastly, we have the survival rate, or the number of living cases per number of cases of disease. Ayun. So, under the measures of disease frequency, marami po tayong mga terms na naway natutunan po talaga natin. We compare and contrast. We do application po and also do calculations. Ngayon, check po natin yung objectives natin. By the end of this module, the learners should be able to, kanina we defined population and explained how populations are delineated in epidemiology. We described the characteristics of fixed and dynamic or the open populations, and we provided examples yung sa CBMC saka sa it is the foot and mouth disease po caused by Coxsackie virus. We understand the concepts of health and disease according to the World Health Organization. Ito po yung sa may the complete status, physical, mental, and social well-being, and not merely the absence of disease sa health, and the disease is the absence of health. Explain the importance of accurately defining diseases in epidemiology and recognize factors influencing disease definitions. Sa importance, yung sa mga case po natin, kapag na-explain na mabuti, ano po yung included sa case natin, nagkakaroon po tayo ng increase in population in increase in population of patients that occur the disease and vice versa. Definitions. We identified and differentiate the ratios, proportions, and rates. Yan po yung kanina. We calculate the disease occurrence measures such as CI, IR, and their significance in public health research under incidence po siya. We discuss the uses of prevalence and incidence measures and evaluating this burden. Yung may picture po kanina, planning interventions and forming public health policies, and we apply the knowledge of population dynamics, health disease, and disease occurrence measures to analyze real-world epidemiological scenarios. Ito po yung mga rate po natin, crude mortality rate, age-specific mortality rate, and such. And that is the end of my reporting po. naway na-explain ko po siya ng maigi and thank you very much for listening po.